everyone, this is Marlyonama, and welcome to a 100 subscribers special. I've, this channel's been around since 2007, and it's only been like 2010, and it's been only 6 years since I've decided to turn this channel into a full-time career instead of a hobby, and I can't believe it took me this long to reach this milestone. I'm really happy for the support, and for a treat, here's another commentary on my Tenticolino review. As you can see, it was already rushed, and there was a bit of several requests online and from other users that I corrected, and so here I am right now, just commentating over it. As many of you know, there's actually this video commentary of my review, essentially a review of my review, lack of creativity, from Ricky Ray, who's obviously doing this as a hobby as he refuses to show his face, but that's by choice. I was a bit upset at him and going off on a tangent there by making me look like a fool online, but I take it back because I didn't realize that the Streisand effect would kick in. And I am sorry. I do apologize. And as you can see, as you notice at the beginning of the video, there is awkward silence. And that was because I was pretty new then, so I haven't really created an intro for the show like I have right now. As you can see, the video quality is quite low, but I've tweaked it up a bit to look better, and that's because at the time, my video recording software was not as good as it is now. And same with the channel here. I have updated my webcam drive, and also my video card. It is in case you haven't noticed, my video card is an AMD Radeon card. It's pretty powerful beast. And you may notice, what is that little ribbon thing going around my neck? Well, I was referencing the original Titanic movie. Not the original one, the James Cameron one, since this episode aired at the 100th anniversary of the sinking, and they're obviously of the sinking of the ship, and they were obviously doing and there are obviously theaters re-releasing it in 3D. And luckily there are no Michael Bay explosion effects, as there were other YouTube parodies of it online. And I know that a lot of Titanic animated movies have been covered to death a lot on the internet, but at the time, Tenticolino was a different example. Well, this was actually In Search of the Titanic, the sequel to the other Titanic movie that was even worse. You know, with the flying dolphins and the magic tears and all that bullshit. And I made a huge mistake here. I know that there have been submarines long before 100 years ago, especially with the time this movie is to have taken place, but they were not as advanced like this. They were not like the ones shown here, if you know what I mean. I mean, what was I thinking that time? I mean, they even used submarines in the Civil War. The Union Army would, actually. And they'd go up and down the Mississippi River, but that's a whole another story. And I cannot believe I said underwater sea. Well, duh, it's underwater. I meant a terrible CG render of the ocean floor. La 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 la. And that's before we cut to the rapping shark. Yes, the fish are having seizures. And I was even using my dog Angel to point out how stupid the rapping was, as you can see here. I obviously wanted to extend this rapping sequence to show off how bad it was and how long it goes before it makes your ears bleed. Now, again, this was I actually filmed this just after I came back from the movie theater of that re-release with my friends.
Off their oxygen supply, they also suffocate. But it isn't long till they're saved by a league of Little Mermaid rejects, dressed in Aquaman costumes. Whoa!
We just, you may ask, why were you going to see a rescreening of an old movie? Well, at the time, there were not that many good movies out at the time, except for Hunger Games, which I personally believe it's overrated. I mean, releasing a new sequel every single year up until last Thanksgiving, but again, that's just my opinion. They've been doing that a lot with movies recently. The trend basically started with Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings in the early 2000s, and it's pretty much continued with the Twilight Saga. I mean the Twilight Saga, and they even with the final chapter divided up into two parts, as if we hadn't had enough of that already. And they did that with The Hobbit and also the Hunger Games trilogy. Now, a lot of times they always divide the last installment into two separate parts. Why is everyone all hyped up about this again? Oh, and the Little Mermaid rejects that are filled with everyone's like dressed like Aquaman or something. And there's a little segment I forgot to add in there when they're carrying the characters into Atlantis. Uh where the dog wakes up and he's pretty much like, I'm in hell! I don't like this! I need to call my lawyer! No, I'm not kidding. He actually says that. And I wish I can link you to a video clip showing this to prove my point. And you obviously gotta hate the rulers and the people that took them there because now they're stuck there. They can never return to the earth. They're like, fuck you, you stupid headless emperor of Atlantis and your gay Jack-in-the-Box fish. It's a very bad techno remix. And despite all the claims of having angels used in that mockery of the rapping shark, she actually loves being in my arms. She's like, I love being in your arms. That shark has no talent. Or something like that. That's my little angel voice I have. My angel voice. I have a very sensitive nose. And you know, another thing I'd like to point out is the opening sequence, the mice that are telling the story of the last movie, which retold the sinking of the Titanic. You obviously notice that it's zooming right into a normal building, into a giant hotel room of a building, which implies that the mice are very huge. I forgot to point that out.
Which is pretty stupid because now they can just swim back up to the surface anytime they want where they belong. But there's more subplots going on with the mice and meeting up with really offensive racial stereotypes. And they apparently want this magic elixir, so the rats that live within the wreck of the Titanic can take over the world or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and also the pacing of the story gets really, really bad around here. The lip syncing's bad, as you could show in this little rat rally right here. Where he's like, and we'll conquer the world. I'm moving crazy like a puppet without any lip syncing.
So they follow them to
All I really wished in this movie was to just kill that fucking octopus that basically butchered history. And now I know what you're saying. That's a disrespect for the people who died. Newsflash, I'm not trying to be the nostalgia critic here, despite what everyone will say. I am not. YouTubers and other pundits, like myself, are trying to be different. We are basically diversifying ourselves. And plus, all the people who died, as well as those who, besides all the survivors who knew the people who died, are all dead right now. Yeah, the survivors are all dead. In fact, if I'm correct, the last of the survivors of the Titanic actually died in 2009, I believe. Yeah, because there was a big news story about it. And she was only an infant when she was on the Titanic, so of course she didn't remember. Sorry about me stuttering speech there. This is a commentary in unscripted environment where I basically point out my flaws and mistakes. Now, there is a lot of requests for me to do this on the Rurouni Kenshin OVA that I reviewed. It received a lot of backlash because I point out a few mistakes here and there. Like bullets traveling through water, but that's a whole nother story. I obviously didn't really know what to research on that. Yeah, the thing is, I was always thinking, the toys that ended up in the toy palace in the kingdom, how did were they toys from the wreckage of the Titanic or other ships? That seems a plausible explanation. Oh, and look at the ending. I would just love there to be an abridged version where they're like, "What the hell are you thinking, you faceless emperor?" or headless emperor? Because the animators were just too lazy to draw a face. Why don't you just fuck off for telling us to basically stay on this island for the rest of our lives? We're human beings, for God's sake. And here's my finale, basically. And again, I am going to have another episode of Tidbits along the way, probably within a week or two. Well, because I'm actually going on vacation with my boyfriend in early July, and I'll be gone for a week. And I will not be able to get back to you until much later. Again, so I hope you enjoyed this commentary of my flaws and mistakes and be entertaining on it. I really love each and every one of you of my 100 subscribers, and I really hope you like this video, and if you do, please make sure to subscribe. This is Marlyonama, signing off.